So, if anyone remembers from my last video, I mean, y'all seem to have really liked it, and I'm just happy to see that you guys enjoyed it in the comment section. As you may have noticed from my last video, I said I was going to post last week, but I had quite a bit of work to do. But I wasn't happy with the video, so you'll be getting 2 videos this week, which will be for 2 separate audiences. This video is the final part of our Buster Groove tier list series, so let's get into this game, shall we? So we have Dance Summit 2001. This is the final installment of the Buster Groove series, which was released on the 2nd of November 2000 and only released in Japan. I guess at this point they had thought that this series wasn't really going to go much further overseas. As a big difference, Dance Summit takes the 1v1 aspect that Buster Groove had and turns it into more of a team collaboration sort of thing, where instead of having a certain amount of time to hit the buttons, everyone has a set pattern that they must follow. The main goal is to have the most points at the end of the song, and there's not a whole lot on this game actually. The most we really know about this game is really coming from the wiki, and it was just that they were working on this game since August of 1999, and that apparently there was a special controller released with the game that I couldn't really find much on, but I was able to find a YouTube video where someone was playing it, so shout out to them. So what about the characters that we have to pick from? So we have 8 teams of 4, and you'll notice that some of these characters have reused animations from Buster Groove characters and their dance styles. I think some of these teams were definitely choices when it came to the dance style that they were given, but I'll talk about this when I get into their individual songs. So we already have one song that has already been placed up here, and that is our intro song. I honestly couldn't really find a good way to sort of throw it in, but I thought it was big enough for it to have its own position, so if you want to listen to that again, go back to the intro for the video. And so I'm going to put Na Ten Ten in A, but now we get to start for real. So for the first actual song to start off with, we have Cherry Bomb by KOZ or KOZ, and this is the team that we have on the front cover for the game Team Schoolmate. And from what I remember, I believe they have the style of Shorty and Frida, possibly Pinky, but I don't think so. Now, just gonna say each song has these things called interludes, where it's a point where the song will change in tempo and sound, so I'll be going through that for the bass songs as well. But as for Cherry Bomb, this is one of those songs that I think is probably the best when it comes to bass line for the game. I think it gives a strong indication of what the music you hear is going to be like. I think it starts off the video really strong. As for the artists behind this, there's quite a few people going by this name, so I actually didn't find anything when it came to this artist, so if anyone knows anything, I would love to know. Just leave it in the comments. I give Cherry Bomb an A. So we have Game World by Ellin, and the team for this, their dance style is pretty much exactly just Heat's, I believe. I don't think Gasso's style comes much into this, but I might be wrong about that. As for the song, I really don't like it. I don't like this bass version. I think because I heard the remix of this first, it really let me down when I thought that this was the remix, but I do not like this at all. I guess there's like a few parts that I can say that I like, but overall, it's a no for me. As for the artist, Ellin, very similar story to the previous one. I could not find anything. All that shows up when I type in Ellin is Ellin from Crayon Pop, which I highly doubt is the same person. As for this version of this song, I think I'm going to put it in D. That's how much I dislike this. Next up we have Red Star by Miki Takaesu. I kind of like this song. I think this bass version is the best version of this song. As for the team itself, I am not a huge fan of the African dance style, which is a direct thing from Robo Z Gold from Buster Groove 2. I like the style sometimes. I think there's some animations that make it look really silly, and I don't really care for the attire of this team. I don't know, I was just kind of bored. As for the artist, Miki, I wasn't able to find much. I only saw that she may have been credited with this one anime, but I don't know if it is her exactly. And that's all that really shows up for her. There's one image that I have of her, which seems to be like an album cover. As for the song, I'm gonna give it a B. I think it's strong, it's just not my favorite. Next we have My Name is Sister Get, and this song, let me tell you, this song is crazy good. I absolutely love it. But the worst part is that I think the characters for the stage, or the characters that this team represents, are some of the worst designed and have some of the worst choreography. It's very clear that this team's intention design-wise was to be comical because they went from like this drag queen man in a dress equals funny route, but it really doesn't help because they have just some of the weirdest and boring, lazy movements when it comes to dancing. And I understand that this team apparently has a lot of Tsutomu's animations from the second game, but I can barely notice some of them, or maybe Tsutomu's animations just works better on his body type. I personally prefer using the Far East Commanders for this stage because I feel their style suits way better. As for the artist, Mitsuyo Nemoto, whose stage name was Mie, even before looking her up, I knew that she had been singing for a long time. Like, I believe she did this song when she was 45. She's 65 now, but she just has one of those voices where it's like, oh, this is like traditional Japanese karaoke right here. Take me here. This song is an S.
1, 2, 3.
I think God of Funk is one of those songs where the remix and the bass song are very similar, but I think it's very clear that one of them is better than the other. Which one will be decided by you guys, but I have mine. It's very clear that Galaxy 4's dance style was heavily based off of Hero, as we saw from the beginning of the video. I feel like they've lost a lot of the acrobatic stuff, but when I watch this team dance, I really start to notice how strange the rigging or the modeling style for these characters was. I can really see issues that I think only really come down to the style of the characters, and I think it's because the characters just have large heads, and when you have a lot of hand performance sort of style type of movements, it looks really goofy because the heads are too big, and so it ends up just looking weird. And I also hate that the character costumes don't match a little bit more. As for the artist D.U.B, I could not find anything really. I hate it when they have like these generic sort of names, or it's just impossible for me to like search up, because you know, we're looking at this, what, 23 years after. As for the song, I'm gonna give it a B. Next we have Do You Think You and I Can Get Acquainted? And I think this is one of those songs where the more you listen to it, the more it will grow on you. I've liked it since the first time I've heard it, but it was something that I sort of had to adjust to really be like, how much do I like this? This song was sung by Kenji Otsuki, and this is kind of a big name in the Japanese space because he's done quite a bit of work within the anime side of things, such as Hellsing and Prison School. But he also has quite an extensive catalogue of music since he's been doing this since the 70s. And if anyone's a JoJo fan out there, you know that there is a character modelled after him as well. As for the team, Disco Estrus, is extremely strange. First of all, I hate that they have disco in their name despite their style being capoeira. The concept of the team was more fun, but the execution was extremely lacking. Unlike the flower dancing team where everything was just sort of ugly all at once, there's only one character that's really pleasing to look at, whereas the other three are just sort of either boring or their color scheme is completely weird. I do think the best part of this team is their stage, because I think the staging is great, and you have all the capoeira aliens in the back. It's just really cool. As for the ranking of the song, I am also going to give it a B. Now we have Custom Move by RYO the SKYWALKER and DJ Defilements. Personally, I think this song is in a similar category with God of Funk, where I think, depending on what you prefer, the remix and the bass song are going to really switch between each person on what they prefer. As for RYO the SKYWALKER, he is still active and he's always posting on his Instagram. I think his last post was like 5 days ago, so it's always nice to see that. As for the team Jumbo Max, it's clear that this team seems to be a mix of Ham from the first game and Strike. In terms of the song, I like it, but it just leaves me wanting more, so I am going to give it a B.
1, 2, 3.
Now last for the bass songs, we have Ichijiku by Random Future. And the thing I'm going to say yet again, as we all know, is that I could not find anything on this artist. There was something called Last FM where it seemed to have very similar names that I have talked about throughout the video. For the people that have played this game, this song's going to be very polarizing because I don't think it's going to be for everyone. It has a very similar energy to Anchor 1 from the second game. I think some people will really appreciate the song and a few won't. As for the team Far East Commanders, I find them to be quite a large departure from like their source material when it comes to like being Kitty N, but I love most of their designs and I love some of the changes to their dance style as well. This is my favorite team, and for the people that watched the second one, they already know that I personally enjoy pieces like Inca 1, so it's probably safe to expect that my ranking for this song is going to be an S.
1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Any issues that I had with the bass version were definitely completely fixed in this remix version. I kind of love everything about it. I like how it's soft, but also still has a bit of a hard-hitting part to it. It doesn't need to be overly flashy, it just does what it does successfully. I'm going to give this an S. This version of Game World, I definitely prefer it than the original, but the issue with this is I feel like this doesn't go anywhere like at all throughout the entire time it's on. When I say that I just wanted more, as in what this song gave me is essentially just like the free bread at the table. I needed way more from this, especially having the bass one not be to my liking either, and it just wasn't able to do that for me. So that is why I'm giving this remix a C. I think the best thing I can say about this remix is that I really enjoyed the beginning and I really enjoyed the end, and that is it. Everything else in the middle is unsatisfying but also just feels like dead air at points. I'm going to give this song a C. I mean, what a downgrade when you compare it to the bass. Yeah, I feel like this song is sort of perfect for this team because I think it's such a letdown compared to the original. The original was so great, it was perfect to me. It couldn't have gotten even better. It had the perfect amount of drama, it had great vocals, and I feel like this remix just sort of butchered it. That is why I am giving this song a C. Remember what I said originally? That there's going to be two kinds of people, one that prefer the bass and one prefer the remixed version. And I am definitely someone who thinks the remixed version completely eclipses the bass version. It is better in nearly every way, it is way more upbeat, which I think just works so much better for not only the team concept, which is why I'm going to give this song an S. When it comes to this version of the song, I really don't know what was going through their heads when they were putting it out. I know that I said that the Flower Dancing Team stage song was completely butchered by the remix. When I tell you that this version of this song might be the worst song in the actual game, in my opinion. I mean it. It feels the same the entire way through, and I just can't help but be like, what was the thought process behind this? I give this a D.
Here we go, yo. Check it out, yo. Pasta move, 仕上げパスタムーブ。どんなマグロも生かしたる。玄関にキッチンにバスタブ。ところ構わずをカスタム。飲んで飛んで踊ってけないたんで。脳みそ揺さぶる体感ウェーブ。うまいこと乗れたら大歓声。Hey, hey, hey, hey. 体感にたどり着く最短で。
Like I said before, this remix is very akin to the whole God of Funk issue, where the remix, depending on who you are, is definitely better for some people. I personally prefer the more bare bones approach to this song because it makes certain parts have more impact, but I do wish that there was more of a combination of the two mixes because I feel like that is what would bring out the best in each one. I also tried to find out who Dr.SAKU is from the name of like who remixed it, but I could not find a single thing to be expected. For me, the remix is going to be an A because I prefer it over the bass version.
Hey, love and peace. Yo, I want to introduce to you guys Random Future, man. They be the bomb.
This remix is fine, but I feel like it doesn't quite fit the Far East Commanders, which I guess maybe it's great in that aspect. I feel like this more suits the breakdancing team. I do like that it is more intense, but I do not prefer it more than the original, which is why I am going to put it in B. And now we have the best version of the arcade stage. This version of this song is the best one. There is no doubting it at all. This song and the next song are bonus songs, and honestly this is the best one. I truly think this might be the second best song in this game. I don't know why this isn't the bass version. Everything about it completely encapsulates the whole arcade aesthetic without it being too overbearing, because I feel like the first version was a little too much on it to where the vocals just didn't really pop, and this version just does it justice. This is 100% the best version. It's going in the S tier. I don't dislike this mix, but I feel I have very strange feelings about it. It doesn't quite go anywhere for me, and I understand that they took more of like a minimalistic rock approach to it, which I think is for some people, but it's not for me. I quite frankly would have liked to have seen a much more upbeat version for this song. And I don't know, I would have preferred a remix to any other song than a second remix to this song, I think. Because I think there's songs here whose remixes just didn't do them any justice and made them worse. And this version just kind of feels meh. That is why I'm giving this song a C. And to end it all, we have Kyogen Message by Boat. And honestly, I don't know how I feel about this song. It is very Jet Set Radio-esque. It's giving very Guitar Vader, but I like it, but it's not my favorite. I would say that this group has quite a few other songs that I prefer instead. One of the most notable ones being Roots of Summer. I think that was their best song to me. But it's really hard to find much about this group. But I think they had disbanded around the early 2000s, since there is not a song from them or an album from them since I think 2001 or 2. Personally, just because I know what they have released, I'm gonna put this in C. And yeah, that ends it all. We have every song now on there. I don't know how it feels for you guys, but it's a little strange having a small series like this, and you know, even if like only 100 people saw this, and a lot of the views from my last video aren't gonna come up from this either, I'm glad that I was able to share this game that was like really niche, and probably a lot of people that had played the first one had never even heard of this one at all. And so it feels good introducing people to some of the music that just didn't have a chance to make it outside of Japan. And on that note, I think we're done. Broadcast finished?